Okay. Alright, now that everybody watched me clean the lens. Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. We are working on Jim's car today. We are taking care of some issues with the engine. I'm hoping that I can get the new oil filter adapter bolted to the side of the engine and maybe even get the oil pan gasket changed out in this, but we're gonna have to see how it goes. Come back and I'll update you on where we're at. Alright, I got Jim's car up on the lift, as you can see. 25th anniversary car is behind me. I'm going to take it outside first because I've already got the old oil filter adapter off of the car. And I've got it right here. I'm going to stand out of the shadow so you guys can see it. So you can see there's the adapter right there. There's two hoses coming off of it, and it went over to an oil filter relocation kit. And I still have the Speed Hut gauge sending unit right there, which I'm going to have to pull off and hopefully mount to our new oil filter adapter. Inside, I have a box with a brand new oil filter adapter, and I'm going to pull that out of the box and show you guys exactly what that looks like. Alright, this is the piece that we bought from Scott Drake, I think. For those of you that are in the Mustang community, you'll know that Scott Drake sells a lot of OE style Mustang and Ford replacement parts. So this is a Ford FE oil filter adapter for what the 352s, like there were in the early Thunderbirds, all the way up to the 428s. That includes our 427 side oiler. So in the box we have the adapter itself. Oh, that's nice. And then a gasket. So the gasket is clearly marked so we can see front, back, and the actual adapter itself looks like a pretty nice machine part there. And it looks like in the top there is a provision for our oil pressure sending unit. So we'll have to take the oil sending unit off of our existing adapter and see if that's going to thread in there or whether we're going to need an adapter. I think we're going to need an adapter because I think that looks bigger than what we have. So I'm going to get this thing ready to go in. I'm probably going to just use a dab of Ultra Black RTV on all of the mating surfaces and then go ahead and put this thing in. Grateful Dead, friends of the devil. Alright, so this is where we're at. I've got the mounting boss here on the block all cleaned up. I went at it with a single edge razor blade to get the majority of it off. Then I did some lacquer thinner. You can use acetone as well, just to soften up what was left of the gasket. And then I hit it again with the single edge razor, and I've got everything off of there. That's clean, just machine steel now. So what I'm going to do over here on the bench is I've got the new gasket, and again it's marked which way is which, and when I lay the gasket on here the letters face out from the block. So front is the front of the motor, rear is rear of the motor, and the lettering faces out. So this is going to go on here just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on just a little tiny smear of black RTV, and I'm going to get that both in between the gasket and the adapter and the gasket and the engine block. And then here I already have the adapter for the oil pressure sending unit screwed in, and I did have to put a 45-degree elbow on there because this was coming right into a portion of the engine block that we weren't going to be able to get to the terminals on the top. The last thing I did on the actual sensor itself is I made some big marks that I can see for signal and ground, both top and bottom. I wasn't sure which side was going to be able to be seen better, so I figured if I was doing it from the top of the motor, I could see the S and the G there. You can see that they're inscribed into the brass of the sender, but that's really hard to see if you're trying to look at that from the top of the engine bay. So I've marked it on both top and bottom, so I should be able to get that hooked back up with not too much trouble. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this put back in the car, and I'll bring it back. All right, I'm going to walk around this time instead of knocking my head on the lift. Music update, ZZ Top, legs. All right, the adapter's in. I think I'm going to switch gears. I need to get the fuel line out of the way for removing the oil pan, which will probably be in a different video. But since I'm here, I figure I might as well get this line out of the way now, and I may even start on getting the new line routed over to the fuel pump. I'm going to kind of see how things go. Anyways, I've got the adapter in, so it is right there. Can you see it? I guess it's behind the fuel line. How about here? Yep, you can kind of see it here. How about back here? Oh no, there you can see it. So right here, the new adapter's in. I've got the bolts all torqued. Those bolts do have lock washers on them. I did not run thread locker on those. I figured that may be something that the gasket needs to be changed out, you know, at some point. And I thought thread locker would probably be counterproductive there. So that's all in. And so what I'm going to work on is getting this fuel line that goes around here and up and over and right next to the starter. You can see how close it is to the starter. I'm going to get that rerouted. It's running on the other side back here, back here of the 4-inch tube. So I'm going to continue it down the 4-inch tube, and then I'm going to go up and over on the top of this 4-inch tube, over probably to just about here, just a little bit back from the edge of the oil pan. And then I'm going to do a little kick up on it, and then I'm going to put this adapter on the end of it, this 3/8 adapter, and then that's the point that I'll transition to rubber hose. So I will be having to take the fitting off of here, which is a 9-degree fitting, and right now it's facing towards the back of the car, and I'm going to face it down towards that line that I'm going to be running. And I think I'll try to work on that the rest of today, and then I don't know, we'll see how tomorrow. I might start working on the oil pan tomorrow, but I think that's going to be in a separate video. I don't know how long this one's running, so I'm going to probably edit some of this tonight, and then I'll determine whether or not I'm going to include the fuel line in this video or not. But you guys will find out in just a few seconds which I decide to do. Anyways, I'm going to keep at it, and I'll get back to you. Alright everybody, I figured I'd bring you back for a little update. I pulled the fuel line out, and this is why we pulled it out. Right here, look at how compressed that is in the corner. And it was in a spot you really couldn't see it if you were viewing it from the top of the car or you crawled under the car. The only way to really see this was with it up on the lift, you know, having the proper angle to see it. The other place was this rubber hose here. It wasn't in the position it's in now. It was in this position. And can you see how kinked that hose is? So this was not fuel. This was not allowing fuel to go through there as it should. Now to get it out, I basically just cut the end. I got a pair of diagonal cutters, and I just cut into it, because I knew I wasn't going to be reusing it. This is aluminum tubing, and it's okay to use aluminum tubing, but I just wouldn't use it in conjunction with the steel tubing that's already installed in the back portion of the car. So what we're going to do, this battery cable is going to get relocated too. I've got the battery cable strapped up there. This was before we knew we were going to move it to the front. And I'm probably going to relocate the ground that's over here that you can see on the chassis. But so right back here, I don't know if I can see it. Right back here is our union where we're going to tie in. And then we're going to go right along this 4-inch tube up to, probably just before the lower control arm mount that you can just catch the corner of right there. And we're basically going to kick the tubing up at an angle like this, and then 90 it that way along the top of that 4-inch tube, and then over to where we need it. That's going to do two things. It's going to get it out of the way so we can better get in there to get the oil pan out. Long term, being able to get into the oil pan isn't a huge deal. I'm hoping that we're not going to be replacing an oil pan gasket, every few months in this thing. We should be able to repair the leaks that are in it now because it was installed improperly, and that should be the end of it. But you still want to maintain a certain amount of access so that you don't have things running directly under it, so you can get to the bolts and everything else that you need to get to, from time to time. So we're going to work on that, getting that fuel line up and over. I'm going to grab some fuel line over on the other side of the shop where I know I have some, and start getting it measured out, and then we'll see. We'll see if we can get that going on this side. All right, everybody, it's the next day. I have a very rare morning here at the shop. Normally I would be out in the field working at my main source of income, but today I've got some things going on here at the house, and so I am here in the shop getting some things done and trying to catch you guys up on what's going on. So we left off with the fuel lines that we had pulled out of the car, and I will be happy to say that we got the fuel lines completed, minus the new fuel filter. We're going to put the new fuel filter in line after the mechanical fuel pump. So I haven't got into that portion of the under hood stuff yet, but we've got the fuel line pretty much taken care of from front to back on the car, or back to front, because we started in the back. So let me get the light over here, and I'll show you guys where we're at with this. The union is right here. That's the union. That's where we disconnected the previous fuel line, and then we are extending it with the same type of material that is used throughout the rest of the car. So it's this armor-coated line. And I thought I had some. I did not. I had some 5/16 stuff. So I went to the local auto parts store, and this is something they stock. This is something they carry, and so I was able to pick up a piece of 3/8 by 72 inch. So in answer to some of the questions previously on what the longest lengths you can buy at the auto parts store, I believe that is it. 72 inch is about the length that you're going to find in the local auto parts store. So we've got it run, and then I've got it cushion clipped here, and right back here where the union is. And then if you look over here, you can see where it kind of goes up. And where it goes up there is across the top. Can you see it there? Okay, yeah. It comes up. I made an offset in the tubing and brought it up higher than I needed it, and then offset it back down. I just needed that extra room in order to get that to sit flush against the outside of the 4-inch cross tube. And so then it runs to a cushion clip there, and then you can see we transition to our adapter fitting right there. So these are double flared, 45-degree double flares. And so we used the adapter that had previously been used here, and then we go to the push lock rubber hose, which I've said to you before, I went ahead and put a fuel injection clamp on because I just feel more comfortable that way. And then, I don't know if I can get the camera in on the other side. Let me see if we can get it back in over here and some light on it. And you can see where I tied into the fuel pump. I've got the light kind of shining right at the camera, but you can see I've got another fitting up there, the existing fitting we tied into, and a clamp. And that's going to get the fuel lines wrapped up for the most part. Like I said, we still have the fuel filter that we're going to have to contend with out in the front. And what I'm probably going to do there is I'm just going to cut a section of the aluminum tubing out, put a, what is it, a 37 and a half degree, I can't remember exactly what it is, so guys, don't beat me up on the comments. For an AN fitting, we'll put our flare nut and our flare little, oh, what do they call them, ferrule? And then that will be removable so that, you know, from time to time, if you have to change or clean the filter, you can pull it apart. We're going to use one of the bullet style fuel filters up there because it's going to just be a nice clean installation that way. They don't take up a lot of room. And I think we can get one all the way down to a 10 micron. So the lower the number, the higher the filtration is my understanding anyway. So, you know, a 40 micron would probably work. And they're readily available, or a 10 micron, either one. Those are basically post-pump filters. I think anything before the pump, then you go with it's a higher number, but it's a lower filter rating. So it would be like 100 micron. And like I said, that's just my understanding. I'm going from memory, guys, so don't beat me up. If I've got it backwards, I apologize, but I will confirm that before we order the filter, and we'll get a filter in there. The membrane style factory filter that was in there was just far too restrictive. It's a wonder with all the kinks in the fuel line and the filter type that was in the back that this thing was getting any fuel to those stack carburetors in the front. Hopefully this will make the car run better. But who knows? I didn't tune the car. I'm not going to tune the car. Jim actually has someone that he's been in contact with and has actually tuned the carb setup since he bought the car. So I'll leave that up to you know, someone that's more familiar with you know, the setup on the car than I am. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up, and you know, we'll move on to the next quest in this car, which I think is going to be getting the accelerator cable put in, and getting the clutch cable fine-tuned, because right now where the clutch cable is running, I'm not real happy with, even though it does work. And then once those are in, we're going to go on to, you know, bleeding the brakes and some of the other stuff. I still am waiting for some parts, and in the meantime, I'll probably drop the oil pan, clean up the both mating surfaces on the pan and the bottom of the block, and get the new pan gasket put in, and hopefully that will take care of all the leaks that are currently on my floor or on my mats. You can see this thing when it's been in different positions, how often it leaks on the floor. But so I think that's going to wrap things up for now. All right, that's going to do it for this one. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment if you like. We'll see you guys all next time. Have a great day.